This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, brother. So let's get to it. Jonathan Taylor. I mean, I don't really think it ends up happening because I think they want low-hanging fruits when it's all said and done. So that's kind of been their MO. I don't expect them to pay a high price. The question is, do the Colts just want to give them away? And that's the part I don't know. If they want to give them away, then maybe the Dolphins do have a chance. That's the question.
What's your definition of giving them away? They're not giving them away for a 7.
No, here's my definition of giving them away. I'll give you Needham. I'll give you Mostert and a 4th rounder, and we make the trade. They need a back. They need a defensive back. They need a running back because they're giving you a back, and you give them a 4th round pick. I can see something like that. I don't see a 1st or 2nd rounder going that way. That's what I don't see. I don't see a big pick going that way. Put it that way.
Okay, I have a hard time the Colts wanting anything to do with Needham. Nothing personal, but right now he's hasn't started practicing. How about
you're not going to give him Cam, bro? I mean,
No. Would we be okay with a 2 and Jeff Wilson?
I don't think they would want Jeff Wilson, but sure. I mean, I don't know about a 2. I don't even think a 3 in Jeff Wilson. Yes, I don't think they give up a 2. Okay. Yeah, I don't think they give up a 2 because I don't even think they're going to give up big money to him either. So he must be agreeing to some kind of a reasonable contract because they can't afford to give a top-end contract with everyone they have to pay. It's a luxury. They don't need Jonathan Taylor, bro.
Well, but
that's the thing.
But here's the thing. Technically, they don't, except ever since they re-signed their 4 running backs from last year, they've been linked to Dalvin Cook, Saquon Barkley, DeAndre Swift, Josh Jacobs, and now Jonathan Taylor. So at some point, I think we have to believe that they don't necessarily need him to have a good offense, but maybe they're thinking, this is where I go back to having an 83-year-old owner who is a major success in real estate, hasn't had that kind of success as an owner who badly is jonesing for a Super Bowl title or a Super Bowl run, who may be telling Chris, listen, I want you to go all out, do what can be done, and, if you can get that kind of player, go for it.
Yeah, I just don't think Chris gives a shit about that because obviously, first of all, Stephen Ross doesn't know football at all. He's pretty clueless when it comes to football. That's kind of been proven already that he doesn't know shit about football. So his opinion wouldn't really mean much to me when it comes to football. I think Chris has to do with smart, and what I think he's doing with all these backs, it's what he did with Jalen Ramsey. He got low-hanging fruit for a 3rd rounder. And that I could see worst case scenario 3rd rounder going that way. Worst case. Maybe a 4th rounder instead. You know what I mean? I just don't. I think that's what he's doing when he calls for all those people. He knows you're dying to get rid of him. He knows you have a problem with him. So he calls you to say, okay, you want to give him away? And, you want to give him away for a 3rd rounder? We'll do that. And that's Jalen Ramsey, which is much more important than Jonathan Taylor. And so that's why and then the track record, bro, nobody's paying for running backs. Nobody's trading for running backs. So why would the Dolphins do that? You see what I'm saying? Why would they trade anything significant or give a significant salary when no one does that anymore for running backs?
Except the one recent precedent actually has ties to Mike McDaniel.
Doesn't count. It doesn't count. They don't have a quarterback. They had to do that to surround the 7th round pick. That's an outlier. Has nothing to do with the rest of the league. They don't pay for quarterbacks there. Jimmy Garoppolo was a $6 million quarterback. Purdy was a 7th rounder. They weren't spending any money, so they could do that.
Tua right now does not have a big salary in this rookie in this last season of his rookie year contract.
But it's coming. It's a year away. It's a year away.
Next year in 22, 23.
Listen, right now you're giving Wilkins, Sealer, Phillips is coming. Phillips is going to be coming up. Waddle's going to be coming up. You got a lot of salaries coming up.
I don't disagree.
Collins coming up. they're in a much different situation than that team would be. The San Francisco situation is a complete outlier to the entire league. You saw what happened with the Giants. You saw what happened with Cincinnati. You saw what happened with the Chargers. You saw what happened with Minnesota. No one. There's lots of running backs available.
Okay.
Lots of them are available. You see what I'm saying?
No, you make a valid point, but it takes, again, it would go against pattern. I'm still of the opinion this is an all-in team with, regardless of what they do, they're going to have some painful decisions to make no more than 2 years down the line. So to me, they're in all-in mode 2023, 2024. And you're right about Stephen Ross doesn't know personnel. Stephen Ross knows big names because he's kind of the one who kind of pushed for the Dolphins to sign Ndamukong Suh. And it wasn't because of his his fantastic pass rushing technique or run defending technique.
No, he won him over at a Red Wings game, dude.
Okay.
That's where Ndamukong Suh sat with Ross, and because Ndamukong Suh does have a personality, no matter what you think, he kind of looks goony and he doesn't say much, but he actually is. He has personality, and he kind of won Ross over, and that's where him and Tannenbaum fell in love with him. So yeah, I know the other part.
But the other part too, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, Stephen Ross likes the shiny objects.
Oh my God, yes.
Okay,
yes.
and I'm not
horrible.
Ultimately, you absolutely could be right that it could be a case of let's see if the Dolphins can get him on the cheap, and if not, they move on and no harm done.
That's what I think they keep doing with all these backs, because none of them had landed, and that's because I think he wants low-hanging fruit. And so Saquon, whatever, he offers low-hanging fruit. Hey, you got a disgruntled player. He wants money. Here, we'll give you this at least. I think he just wants to Jalen Ramsey this thing. If he can Jalen Ramsey it, then I believe it. I just don't believe that they're going to give serious compensation. That's the part I have a hard. You know what? Because you know what's next, right? You're going to get a whole bunch of emails now. Oh, Chris Greer, fire him. He paid a running back. Nobody pays running backs. That's what's going to happen. That's what's next.
You're not going to make a decision based on what the fans are going to say.
I know.
At the very least, yeah, it's completely worthwhile for the Dolphins to make the calls.
For sure.
Throw out an offer, see if the Colts bite, and then go from there.
What's your gut tell you?
I don't know. In a lot of cases, I saw somebody made a good point that the Ravens told Lamar Jackson, go test the market, wound up giving him a new contract. Chargers did the same thing with Austin Eckler, wound up getting a new contract. So I would lean toward eventually they make amends and then they make friends in Indy, and he winds up staying with the Colts.
Yeah, I think he stays there when it's all said and done. They control him. He can't really go anywhere. He can't really, and it's like, okay, you had your chance, and we're not going to just give you away. Even though Chris Greer wants you to give him away, we're not going to give him away. And by the way, Stephen Holder made a very good point today on the show, that actually with Anthony Richardson, you need actually Jonathan Taylor more than ever.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And so, which is true with running quarterbacks. And by the way, your running game just improves when you have a running quarterback, because the threat of a Lamar or Richardson, who has those kind of gifts, that's really difficult to defend for defenses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
the only reason you'd move on is unless you're doing what Arizona's doing, which is basically punting on the season by trading all your former draft picks, high draft picks.
Right. And it is a bad year for them. This is a rebuild year for them. So
correct.
That it is. There's no doubt about it. And for him, I'm sure for Jonathan Taylor, it's like, wow, dude, I'm up to get a contract, and I got to deal with this for the next year or two. Yeah, I don't want to deal with this. Yeah. So
right, because it's not. I don't think the Colts, if they wind up hanging on to him and forcing him to play at his salary, which they certainly can, I doubt they're going to franchise tag him, next off season. So then
Yeah.
are they looking at losing him for what? For third round pick compensation or whatever?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. All right. So, what'd you think of Ryan Clark? I've always been a Ryan Clark fan. I was disappointed in his comments because it's like, yo, dude, you're not really hanging around this guy, and you don't really know. You can't. If you were next to him, you'd see that his body was a body that was working out, not fat or looks like a stripper or whatever the hell. But I got to tell you something. If you're going to apologize like a man, that's exactly what he did. And I thought that was a absolute perfect apology by Ryan Clark. I think one that was truly remorseful. I thought it was really classy on his part the way he did it. He took the time, he even talked to Nick Hicks and everything, obviously, to find out, the information and all that kind of stuff. I commend Ryan Clark for a real apology because we see the half-ass ones. I think that was a real one. I don't know what you think.
I'll give him prop for apologizing. I'm also a Ryan Clark fan. I like him.
Yeah.
The only part of the apology I did not like is if he used that phrase that I despise in apologies if it offended you.
Well, it might not have offended some people.
You're questioning the guy's work ethic, saying he didn't take care of his weight training, he didn't take care of his nutrition. That's offensive, and I don't think he had the part to me of like the joke of he's thick and he's got a big butt like the Onyx dancers.
Right.
That to me is like he is thick and he does have a relatively big butt. I mean, there's nothing terrible about that. When you're questioning the guy's, to me,
right,
you're crossing the line when you're questioning the guy's work ethic and everything. That's where I didn't like his comment. And the apology again was great, except for the if you were offended part.
Well, because some people don't get offended easily. Some people just like, whatever, move on. And then some people, I'm sure Tuanon got it.
Ooh, maybe just a little bit.
I'm sure Tuanon, the best right tackle in the NFL is Tuanon. I'm sure Tuanon lit his ass up like a Christmas tree on social media. So, but I really think it was a real apology. I've seen the half-ass ones. I give him credit, bro. I like Ryan.
No, I do. Over. I'm being picky because I don't like that phrase and apologies. But overall, yeah, no. And Ryan Clark is he's always been a straight shooter. Like whenever he does his spots, I have no major issue with him.
Yeah, no problem there. Your thoughts on practice today? Anything stand out? Some guys were reporting, like Barry, that Tua was pretty sharp.
Yeah, he was very good today.
Who stood out? Who were the recipients of Tua's passes? Who stood out?
And I will say this because I saw somewhere where I had some comments telling me the Tua was great yesterday, and I was like, what the hell practice were you watching? He wasn't great yesterday. Today he was very, very good. So I will say that. He had what he did best today was back shoulder throws in red zone situations. He had a couple of those that were like perfect passes, beautiful throws. He had one to Savon Ahmed. He had one to Tyreek Hill with great coverage from X. Basically, the only place he could put his back shoulder, put it right on the money. Those were really nice. And he had a couple of other nice throws. I can't tell you that I remember them specifically right now. But yeah, he had a very good practice. And what stood out to me, maybe more than anything, was actually the very fun way they ended the last practice of training camp, where they called everybody up after the three horns. They gather and then they just split up in a line across the field. And then they went one-on-one. James Blackman's the quarterback. And then it's one rookie or first-year player, second-year player against another rookie or first-year player. They did 4 reps. It was Eric Azukama against Cam Smith, Elijah Higgins against Keydron Smith, Chris Brooks against Aubrey Miller. And then for last one, they did a little twist, a great twist, which was really fun. They reversed it. They had Kader Kohu play wide receiver, running a pattern against David Davis, the rookie free agent wide receiver, playing cornerback. And that one wound up going incomplete, and then the offensive players all went nuts. Which was a great way to wrap up training camp. Bradley Chubb had another. I mean, he's been balling this week. Woo, man.
Okay. Did the same offensive line start in practice from the preseason game?
Maybe.
Oh, you can't say?
I don't
I'm not
think they're
asking
allowed.
you specifically to give me names. I'm just saying that it looked like the
It
same
sure looked
type of.
very similar. Yes, it
Okay,
looked
it
very,
looked
very
very
similar.
okay. Okay. Where is Eichenberg? Was he on the field?
Eichenberg did Tim Pierce, yes.
Okay, so even interesting if it had the same looks. Okay,
Yeah, but
I
if I were to guess, I would guess Isaiah Wynn's going to be your starting left guard.
Okay, I got one out of the two right because I thought Isaiah Wynn would be the left guard, and I thought Kendall Lamb would be moved over to right tackle. But we got to give Austin, I guess, a little credit. He actually has maybe played a little bit more consistent, right?
Austin's been good. I mean, he's had like some minor blips here or there. I'd say
Yeah.
overall, he's been good. But Kendall
Okay.
Lamb's going to be your swing tackle, and he's going to start at left tackle if it turns out that Teron Armstead is not ready for the opener against the Chargers.
Right. I think he'll be. That's a tough sumbitch. He'll be there. I think he'll be there. But I really like what I've seen from Kendall Lamb. So this coaching staff has done a really nice job with Kendall because
Well, he's had a bad week though.
Oh, really?
He's had a
Really?
very, very rough week. And I was with you before this week. I thought
Right.
dude was great. I mean, really, really, really good at left tackle. This week he's had a rough week.
Wow. What happened?
That's a great question. He's getting beat to the outside. I mean, and pretty handily.
Okay. Is he banged up is a question.
He hasn't missed any reps.
Yeah, no, but I mean, he could be slowed by something that he's trying to fight through. You know what I'm saying?
Except, I think he's done enough to where he doesn't need to be out there if he's not right.
Okay.
Just like Zach Sealer didn't need to be out there yesterday after he banged up his knee a little bit. Even though it's not serious, but why in the hell are you going back in there?
Right. Not a guy that you really need to see that much.
No,
You know what I mean? He's
great.
proven everything. You know what I mean?
He's been great in camp.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. He's awesome, bro. He's awesome. Nothing on Wilkins, huh?
Mm-mm.
Not hearing anything. Okay. I kind of get the feeling after this week is when it starts to pick up, and then leading, I think like the last week to 10 days leading up to the game, that's when I think we get something finally. And if we don't, then we got to start getting a little nervous about this whole thing. So
why? He's not going to sit out any games. No, I am hearing is that he's asking for.
Well, you don't want it to linger, is what I mean. It's just not something you want.
Except if the difference between what the Dolphins are willing to offer and what Wilkins is asking is like this.
Right. Okay, that's fair.
At some point, I mean, you don't want the Dolphins to budge just because.
Right. No, that's fair.
Because and at this point, it would not shock me necessarily if he began the season without a new contract.
That would be very interesting. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL. And, of course, catch him on SI doing his thing, alldolphins.com. What are you working on, young man?
Young man, I like that. I like the sound of that.
We're not really old yet, bro.
No, I'm very young at heart, actually. I'm old, but I'm young at heart. Exactly. Practice observations. We discussed the Tua Ryan Clark situation. Omar has the stock report. We have the latest on the Jonathan Taylor trade speculation, and much more to come. We never slow down.
There you go. Poupart NFL on Twitter. Alain, as always, thank you, my friend. Have a great weekend. We will catch up later on.
Sounds like a plan. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, sir. Alain Poupart, there you go. EJD Construction. We love Eric, man. Great people. 305-433-4843. Dade, Broward counties. Not Palm Beach, not Monroe, just Dade and Broward, okay? That's where they handle. And again, AAA rating from the Better Business Bureau, fully insured, liability, and workers' comp. So whoever walks onto your property, if they happen to get injured, you will not get sued. By the way, if you don't hire EJD Construction and you hire somebody else, please make sure they're fully insured. Because if somebody gets injured on your property and they're not fully insured, they're going to sue you. You don't need that. So hire people. That's why we have EJD on this platform, Cutter's Edge. And if we would get another company that does some kind of work like that, I would make sure that they're fully insured, because if they're not, I am not going to, support somebody that is not going to take care of you. You know what I mean? I look out for all of you. That's the idea. 305-433-4843, quality work, affordability, shell construction in-house. That's how they keep the cost down. Folks, they do a lot of things that others don't do. One of the things that they do is when they're working on your property, every day they take pictures at the end of the day to show you the progress that's being made. And it's such a cool thing, man. You can even buy an NFT of the work that you do with them. When it's all said and done, they will make an NFT of your finished product. It's amazing. They're a modern company, ejdconstruction.com. They guarantee their work. 305-433-4843.